Statistics don't lie. If girls are dropping out of sports at a rate double that of what boys are doing, we need to do something different.
We know that sports set a foundation for success for life, but there's a big gap right now on keeping them in sports and providing the right support.
The Surge program was really born out of a need that came straight from the coaches. BSN has 1,200 sales pros who live in their communities, and they work with these coaches on a daily basis. And what we found through those conversations is that girls' sports is extremely underserved, and coaches don't always have the tools that they need to help keep their girls in the game.
When we decided to come up with the concept with Surge, we really wanted to make an impact on high school athletes across the country. And we wanted a program that was just focused on them, to empower them, to inspire them, to give them resources. And the best part about it, we wanted it to be free, not something that they had to purchase.
Surge is a program that's really dedicated to inspiring coaches to take that next step in connecting with their athletes and seeing what that connection does both on and off the field or court, but also in their future.
We designed curriculum, webinars, clinics, professional development resources, all designed to help keep coaches and athletes engaged in what they're doing on a daily basis and really bring them into a community that they can be proud of.
Teaching these athletes what are these skill sets to be proper leaders, that they can not only use that in athletics, but they can use that for the rest of their lives, especially in their careers.
I can teach anybody how to do a computer program. I can teach those skills like Excel and how to compose an email, but teaching somebody how to be a good teammate, that's really hard to do.
I did not have something like this when I was growing up, and so the fact that professional development, curriculum, leadership, confidence building, body image, something that we all struggled with, but no one ever really talked about. And so I think that this is an opportunity for a lot of female athletes to have access to resources that they might not have had, that their coaches might not have known to give them.
If Surge can keep one young lady in sport for longer, or if Surge can encourage someone who was not going to be involved to get involved because they have a place on a team, or they know they have a belonging and a responsibility that gets them there and involved, then we've done our job.
My one goal for Surge and its impact is to hear feedback from our coaches saying, Surge did this for my daughter, for my athlete, and I'm so happy we were involved in it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. I will pass everything over. I will pass it over to Aaron Hart to kick us off through the content.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Saxon. Give me just 1 second to share my screen, and then we will jump in. All right, fantastic. So what a way to start. That video really sums up so much of what our hopes and aspirations are for this program. And I can tell you in just a very short time, we launched Surge literally weeks ago. And we have hundreds of coaches already a part of this community. We know based on the reporting of those coaches that we're serving well over 100,000 athletes. And it's just surpassing my expectations, but I'm not necessarily surprised because the whole charge has been led by so many incredible women around BSN Sports and Varsity Brands. All of the women that you just saw on that video are hands-on and have really crafted this vision and supplied all of the amazing energy to get it to where it is. So I'm incredibly honored to be able to deliver this first webinar. And I got to tell you, I'm a little bit nervous. I got to shake the nerves out a little bit because this is really the beginning of what I truly believe is going to be something amazing for our girls everywhere. So I'm going to go through about 9 slides, and then we're going to jump into the Surge website, and I'm going to give everybody a tour of how to navigate the site and what they can expect to find. And we'll talk a little bit more about the content that's there. So first, let me just introduce myself. That's me and my crew. I'm Aaron Hart, and I've been a part of Varsity Brands and BSN Sports for over 10 years now, and I've had an opportunity to see firsthand that BSN Sports really puts their money where their mouth is and empowers women all across our corporate enterprise. And those women have now really crafted this vision so that we can provide Surge to the entire nation. So I'm husband and dad to the Hart family. I've been an educator and coach. I wanted to make it to 25 years. I thought that would be a really cool number. And now that I've gone past that, I'm just going to say 25 plus. But I've been an educator and coach for over 25 years. My very first job out of college was coaching girls lacrosse, and it was awesome. It was one of those jobs I'll never forget. Never forget the team or the teams that I had over the seasons that I coached that lacrosse team, and it was really, really pretty awesome. I also coached girls basketball at the same time, and then later on, I had an opportunity to coach softball as well. I'm a former New York City public school teacher, and I'm currently a faculty member here at SUNY Cortland. And actually, my office is right next door to the weight room, and the girls softball team is in there right now doing their team lift. So if you hear loud music and inspired cheering, it's just the girls softball team here at SUNY Cortland. I'm going to jump in and get into some of the content, but first, I wanted to just share this picture. So you can see that's my daughter, Izzy. On the left, that's her grown. She's now 24 years old, living in Boston. And on the right, that is 6-year-old Izzy. She had, I remember this moment specifically. She had just been advanced. She was on first base, and her cousin hit a single, and she advanced to third base. And her cousin was so excited that she was doing an incredible dance on first base. And Izzy and obviously myself, the younger version of me, were taking it all in. What I love about this picture is just the sheer joy on Izzy's face. And not only that she was able to advance from first to third, but I know for a fact she was celebrating her teammate. She was celebrating the success of her teammate and how awesome it was to be a part of that team. And now fast forward, she's a young professional. She's out in the corporate world. She's making moves. She's doing incredible things. And I attribute so much of her ability to navigate the world and decide I'm going to move to Boston when I get out of college, and I'm just going to take risks and chances to share my greatness with the world. I attribute that so much to so many of her coaches, maybe not the guy on the screen there, but so many of the coaches that she had over the years. So just wanted to share a little bit of that. So what I'm going to do is dig into some of the nuts and bolts. I want to tell you kind of how the curriculum for Surge was built. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the core philosophies, and then we're going to dig into the actual content. So first and foremost, y'all are here. Chances are you're already a part of our community. You saw the video, so you know that Surge is all about BSN Sports wanting to empower the athletes, the teams, and the coaches of girls sports. We want to provide material that's focused on developing confidence, resilient leadership, and really providing these young athletes with all of the resources they need to become empowered adults that will go out and again share their greatness with the world. So strength, unity, resilience, growth, equity, it's what Surge stands for. And we are excited to launch with our first set of resources. So overall outcomes for athletes. Number one, increase confidence and leadership development. If we can provide you with experiences, resources, professional development, webinar experiences that will give you the tools in your toolbox to then help your athletes develop this confidence and leadership, we're winning, right? On the other side of this, we want to make sure you have tools to help our young athletes improve their mental health and emotional resilience. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through. But we know right now our young people are really in a time and place where mental health has to be a priority. And so for us to be able to offer you evidence-based tools to really work with students to get that emotional resilience up to where it needs to be, again, we've done our part. A little bit about the emotions education and the social emotional learning that goes into this. This is built really on the Believe in You student empowerment platform. So we have done research over the course of the last 5 or 6 years and built this evidence-based set of curricular tools that we can now provide to you in different formats for different audiences. So a few years back, we worked with Wayne State University, the University of Hawaii, Delphi University, and SUNY Cortland to really evaluate the work that we were doing. And what we found, and this is published actually last January in the Journal of Frontiers in Sport and Active Living, that students who have gone through our resources have a better ability to regulate their emotions. They have better perception of self-efficacy, which is optimism and confidence. And they have an overall knowledge of social emotional concepts above and beyond those students who did not participate in the study. So we're really excited about this opportunity to share this work, expand the work that we're doing, and provide it directly to coaches. So outcomes for coaches, this is what we hope. We talked a little bit about the outcomes for students, but this is really what we want to be able to provide for you. Enhanced coaching effectiveness. So when I say enhanced coaching effectiveness, we are going to leave the X's and O's up to you. There are a lot of resources out there where you can learn how to enhance your team's ability and strategy to be able to be effective on the field or on the court or in the pool. However, what we want to be able to help you with is nurturing athlete confidence, leadership mindset, and mental well-being. Those are really the aspects that we're going to double down on and continually to produce content for you to be able to access. We want to make sure your students are better equipped and that you're better equipped to support and empower your team, build positive team culture in order to improve athlete performance, teamwork, and overall development. The next thing that we want to make sure we can do is help you have a positive impact on your athletes. So coaches, we know, inspire confidence, promote strong leadership, all of those things that we went into athletics for, all of those attributes that I can tell you 100%, the women leaders at BSN Sports, they all have this. They all demonstrate it on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to say a lot of that comes from their athletic experience, the coaches that led the way and that set an incredible example for them. And now they're using all of those skills and tools here at BSN Sports and in the world around us. So those are the outcomes that we have for coaches. We have a few coaching strategies that I'm going to walk you through today. The first one, I just want to kind of wrap your head around this, are anchor boards. So anchor boards are principal posters that we're going to provide to you that really provide the concepts that we're going to talk through. These can be displayed in locker rooms, on bulletin boards, wherever your students gather. And we're going to talk about ways that you can use these. But just keep in mind, anchor boards is the overall title of this particular tool that we're going to provide. The next thing, interactive word walls. Many of you are probably educators and you've heard this idea of word walls, from the classroom. However, I'm going to tell you, if we want to help any human being, by the way, better regulate their emotions, the best thing we can do for them is to give them a vocabulary so that they can talk about their emotions in a positive way. And so our word walls around the Surge program, again, are meant for you to print, put up in your locker rooms or wherever the students are going to be. And it'll help them really talk about all of these concepts in a positive and constructive way. So anchor boards, interactive word walls. And then as we dive into these, there's really 3 strategies that we're gonna promote, and we're gonna ask you to give it a try with your students. A lot of you do these sorts of things with your students anyway in team meetings, but community discussion circles, where students understand that this is a safe and inclusive space so that athletes can engage with each other, athletes can engage with coaches, and talk about what is power? What does it mean to be powerful? What are our emotions? How can we use the energy our emotions give us for something positive and not something destructive, right? And as we create these safe spaces, the conversations get easier and easier and more meaningful and more productive. At first, they might be difficult. It might be like pulling teeth. It might be a lot of you sitting there waiting for some athletes to speak up. And hopefully you can work with your team leaders, your captains, to let them know, hey, I need you to speak up and be a part of this conversation. So community discussion circles, Socratic seminars. You don't have to use that term with your athletes, but the idea is that let's have your captains run some of these discussion circles and have the coaches step back, right, and observe and be there for guidance. If things go off the rails or something, you're there to kind of bring it back on the rails. But this idea of allowing your athletes to lead the way and have these conversations peer to peer with the coaches just being there for support. And then this idea of think, pair, share. A lot of times, especially early in your discussion circles, it might be a good idea to have your girls just kind of turn and talk to one another, develop ideas, develop some thoughts that they want to share, and then have them share as a small group or a pair, kind of strengthen numbers. It gives them more confidence to then go ahead and talk through these things. So those are the three main coaching strategies that we're going to ask you to utilize. All right, enough of the talking and the wall of words on my slides. What I want to do now is jump into the Surge website. So if the gods of technology are with me, this will work. And it did. How about that? So here I am at the Surge website, surge.varsityuniversity.org. And you can also get there from bsnsports.com/surge. If you have not already registered for the site, I am going to highly suggest that you do. If you're not already logged in, none of these pages will be available to you. You get a nice little reminder that says, hey, you need to sign up for Surge, and then it'll go in and it will give you the form that you need to fill out. Everything is absolutely free, by the way. There are a couple of reasons why we take your information. The first reason that we want to take your information is we're building a community. We want to stay connected. So you're going to get periodic emails from the BSN sports marketing team that's going to tell you if something's new, if there's an upcoming webinar, if there's some sort of exclusive feature that is unlocked because you're a member of Surge. We want to make sure that you have access to all of that. So the first one is so we can communicate with you. The second one is so that we can measure our impact. We have a lot of exciting things that are already coming down the road with some very exciting partners that when we have a large audience, when we can tell them, hey, our coaches are reporting that we're now impacting close to 200,000 athletes, those numbers are very real to many of the partners that we're working with and to BSN Sports and Varsity Brands as a whole. We want to know that all of the resources that we're putting towards this are really going towards helping your girls. So when you fill out that form, you're going to be asked to, obviously give us your school, your contact information, but also, most importantly, it's going to ask you how many student athletes you serve. Make sure you think about that. If you coach multiple teams, you're going to want to think through how many girls are on your team in each season, that sort of thing, and put that number in there, and it allows us to keep track of our overall impact. So when you register for Surge and you become a part of our community, keep that in mind as you're filling out those forms. There's a reason for it. There's a method to the madness. Now, I already have an account, and I'm not going to go through that process, but I'm going to start to dig into the content right away. The first thing we're going to do is just scroll down a little bit. Right here, we have a what's new section. Anytime we add new content, we are going to post that here so it's easy for you to access at a click. So when the BSN marketing team sends you that email and it says, hey, we have a new module available to you from Surge, you're going to be able to click on it pretty easily and get right to the content. Also, we are going to have this upcoming webinars section as a part of the homepage so that if you want to come in and see what webinars are coming, you're going to be able to do that just at one click. I'm really excited about this section, the Surge family, and the Surge family, I will tell you, is already growing, but I am so grateful for these women and also the partners that have been a part of Surge from its very beginning. So the day that we launched, we had these partners in place, we had these ambassadors in place, and they believed in the vision that the women of BSN Sports created. And I can tell you, I had a really great conversation with Allison Schmidt, our Chief Empowerment Officer, And this is her passion. She is incredibly passionate about mental health and mental wellness. And she's incredibly knowledgeable, has a great background in social work. And we're excited to have her be a part of the Surge family and really lead the way as our Chief Empowerment Officer. You can also see that We Coach, Women Leaders in Sports, and Nancy Lieberman Charities are our first partners to sign on and really give incredible benefits to our members. So you're going to start to see those benefits get rolled out in the next month or two. And you're going to be able to see great webinars from these partners, as well as some more resources. Surge on Social. If you have not already started to follow Surge on Social, make sure that you do. So this is right on the homepage. You can scroll to the bottom and you can click whatever platform you're most comfortable with, or you're on most, or click on all of them. That's what I would say. And follow the Surge team. They're always providing inspirational posts and information. I tell my students all the time, and my athletes, we have to curate our lives these days, right? We really have to be mindful of what we're consuming. And social media is one of those things that we can curate if we're mindful about it. And I will tell you 100%, the Surge social media accounts are a wonderful way to curate your social media feeds. So that is all of the information on the homepage. So I'm going to scroll back to the top, and I'm going to jump right into our resources and curriculum. So you can see that there are 4 different buttons in this space. I'm not going to go in order necessarily, but we will jump into the curriculum in just a minute. So as you go through and you click on articles, for example, you're going to come to, again, a curated list of articles that can help you really get background information, resources, and tools in your toolbox so that you can go in and be the best coach possible for your young athletes. And we're going to continue to add to our articles from our partners, as well as from other sources that we curate for you. So that's the articles button, pretty quick and easy. Leadership resources. I'm going to click through here. You're going to see that this is really the home of our resources that are being fed to us by Women's Leaders in Sports. This is a phenomenal group of women who are really passionate about what sport can do for future leaders. And the alumni of this group and the women who really empower them, it's incredible. We're so blessed to be partners with Women Leaders in Sports. And this is really the resource where you can go and check out all of that information. Obviously, you can see there are a lot of different resources from that partnership that are already coming available. So make sure you go in, check out the podcast, check out the videos, and thank you so much to Women Leaders in Sports for all of the resources that you've provided so far. So I'm going to click back. Professional development is coming very, very soon. So we are in the process of building an on-demand professional development platform that you're going to be able to go in and get free professional development. And at the end of that, you'll get a certificate of completion, and you'll be able to turn that in to your school district or your school. So check back in about a month, and we will have more information on professional development. All right, time to dive into the curriculum. So as I click on that curriculum button, you are going to see that we have 2 modules currently available. Each one of these modules is a 4-week module. And I'll tell you, we designed these to be the first 2 because Surge Forward is designed to really help you with the first 4 weeks of your season, where Surge Within is going to be there for the second 4 weeks of the season, hopefully into the playoffs. So I'm going to dive into both of these so you can see a little bit of the information. So as I click in, scroll down a little bit, you'll see that they're broken up into 4 weeks. So there's a column for each week. However, if you want to skip the individual files, you can download the entire program in one PDF ebook by clicking right here. It takes just a couple of minutes, and you will be able to download this entire PDF packet. I'm not going to scroll through it in this manner because I don't want to make you seasick. It's about 50 to 60 pages of content that will help you provide this program to your athletes over that 4-week period of time. Clicking on the wrong thing. There we go. So you can see there's a reminder on here. Surge coaches recommend that you start the season with Surge Forward, which is the module that we're on right now, and then follow in the second half of the season with Surge Within. As we kind of click through, the introduction is just what it sounds like. It is an overview of what we're going to accomplish throughout this particular module. So it's designed to empower your athletes with powerful confidence. So we know that, you know, maybe you just are coming off tryouts, or you're getting started with tryouts, and confidence is one of those things that our young girls are really struggling with, especially early in the season. They're not sure what to think. They maybe have a new coach, they have new teammates, but we really want to be able to provide resources and information to them to help build and boost their confidence along the way. So this is a turnkey program, easy to plan and prep. We do not want to add a lot of work to your plate. What we want to do is make your life easier. So if we go through this, you'll see that every single week includes a few things. The first one is a coach's clipboard and Surge discussion questions. I'm going to show you this in just a minute. It's 2 pages. You just print this out at the beginning of the week. You put it underneath your practice plans, and it's always there for you as you go throughout the week. We've got our interactive word wall cards. So you can print these out. There's 5 different words per week. You could create a bulletin board, put them on a door, an office door, wherever you think that the girls are going to gather and be able to see those. Next, our Surge Anchor Concept Board posters. Again, there's 3 of these. Print them out. You post them with those interactive word wall cards to create a nice bulletin board for the week. And then finally, Surge Athlete Journal pages. So you're just going to print these. It's 1 page per week per athlete. You just have to print those out. You can either do them sometime, you know, in the course of the end of a practice as a really kind of a physical and mental cool down, or the girls can do them on their own throughout the week. So that's the overview to give you exactly what you're looking at in this particular program. I'm going to click on the block planning guides. The block planning guides are meant to make it really easy for you to understand exactly what you need to do as we go through, starting with Sunday. So Sunday's your prep day. You print everything out, you get everything ready, and if possible, you hang all of the printed cards wherever you want them. On Monday, this is where you're going to introduce the week's theme. You're going to cover either 1 or more of the week's vocabulary cards. You could do all of them if you wanted to. You're going to distribute the athlete journals with a little overview of the journaling expectations. And if you're introducing Surge for the very first time, take just a few minutes to talk about what Surge is as an empowerment program. So on Tuesday, you're going to refer to the coach's clipboard, and you're going to look for the coachable Surge moments throughout practices and games. And I'll show you those in just a minute. But what we did is we built out discussion questions so that as you're going through the week, if there's these coachable moments where maybe things aren't going exactly the way we want to from a confidence perspective or a mental wellness perspective, there's some questions to get you started to get your girls back on track. Also, if there's something to celebrate, we gave you coachable questions that you can use and say, hey, look, this is exactly what we want to see. Let's stop for a second and talk about why that's so amazing. So Wednesday through Friday, if you have a Saturday practice, you're going to continue with all of that, and you're going to continue using Surge vocabulary and concepts throughout. On Friday, or whatever the last day of practice is, you're going to go through and you're going to lead that discussion. Now, if you have a Friday game and you don't come back until Monday, obviously all of this is flexible based on your schedule and what your style is as well. The one thing that we never, ever want to tell you to do is how to exactly implement this program. You're coaches for a reason. You're good at it, and you're passionate about what you do. These are simply tools for your toolbox. When you need a hammer in your toolbox and you're at home and you're doing something that requires a hammer, you pull it out. If you don't need the hammer, you just put it back in the toolbox. Same thing with all of the tools that we're providing to you. The best part about it is it's free. So if you really love the vocabulary cards, but you're not quite sure how the journals are going to work, just pull out the vocabulary cards, or vice versa. So I just want to really reiterate that all of this is very, very flexible. The next chart is our 4-week block plan where what we do is we walk through what the focus concept is, and then we tell you what all of the different vocabulary words are at a glance. So at any given time, you can kind of take a look and see where you're headed in that week or in the next week. So week 1 is all about power mapping your life. We want athletes to feel like the team is a safe space, and we want them to understand that they do hold significant power over their teammates in different ways. And let's use that power for good, right? Let's use that empower to help empower our teammates. Week 2 is all about building a powerful future self. So one of the most powerful things that anyone can do is build an image of who they want to become. So as we build that powerful future self, we begin to then connect to it and make decisions so that we know we're helping our future self. We're helping create that vision. The next one, how do we protect growth mindset? Right? This is week 3 of the season. Maybe early games have gone really well, and our team's getting a little overconfident. Well, we have to remind each other all the time, if we're going to continue to get better and reach our potential, we have to keep working hard. We can't just take a step back and say, hey, everything's going great. We don't have to work as hard as we were in preseason, right? We need to keep working hard every single day. And on the flip side, on the flip side, maybe things aren't going so well and they're starting to have doubts creep in. Well, how do we protect mindset from that happening as well? And then finally, thriving with resistance. So how do we help our young athletes understand that everybody's life journey is going to be ups and downs? It's this constant maze where 1 minute it's amazing, the next minute we're dealing with some sort of struggle. How do we become resilient so that we can be great through all of those life events? So that's the block plan that we're looking at for our Surge Forward program. And now what I'm going to do is just kind of jump into 1 week's worth of resources. So you can see once we jump into 1 week, they're all organized exactly the same way. So the first thing is the coach's clipboard. So page 1 of the coach's clipboard is really background information for you to understand where we're coming from with these concepts. So week 1 resources all focus on power. Based on the research that we have done and follow, a lot of that done by Harvard Business School, we know there are really 2 key factors in power, and it's, do we have access to another person's safety? Do we have access to another person's status? So think about in your own life, who or what makes you feel safe? Right. I'm gonna just tell you right now, my job makes me feel safe. My paycheck coming in every couple of weeks helps me make sure that I'm going to be able to finish paying for my daughter's college. I know she's out, but we still have a few bills hanging out there. And then how am I going to be able to afford to send my son through college as he approaches that time of his life, right? And keep the whole household together. So my paycheck, my job, it helps me feel safe. I'm going to tell you that same thing. My paycheck, my job, the people that I work with, they make me feel like I matter. They make me feel like the work that I'm doing is really making an impact, and working with all of the incredible folks on the Surge Project is certainly an example of that. We all have those things in our lives that hold that sort of power over us. It's not a bad thing. It just is what it is. What we need to help our young athletes understand is they have the power to make their teammates feel more or less safe. And they also have the power to help them feel as if they matter, that everybody's contributing to the team. They can use that power to destroy that feeling of safety or that feeling like they matter, or they can use their power to build it up. And as we create a positive team culture, obviously we want our young athletes to build each other up, make sure they understand that they're safe in this place, physically, emotionally, and that they matter, that every single person, whether they are an all-star or whether they are somebody who really comes in and works hard during practice to make the entire team better, they matter, and it's important that they're there with us as a part of the team. So those are the concepts that we're going to talk through. And we also give you some reflection as a coach. You as a coach are extremely powerful. I can tell you, as a junior, I was going through some challenging things in my life as a junior in high school. And just one day out of the blue, my basketball coach came in and gave us about a 15-minute talk about mental toughness. He told us, mental toughness is the ability to overcome an adverse situation while maintaining a high sense of self-worth and self-esteem. I remember that many, many, many years later, and it stuck with me and become a mantra as I went forward. I have no idea if Coach knew that those words were going to have such a powerful impact on my life in that moment, and then, 30 years later into the future, right? So it's important for us to reflect on that, us as coaches. We are extremely powerful. How are we using our power? Are we helping our athletes feel seen, safe, and appreciated? And are we setting a powerful example for them to follow with their teammates? So that's page 1 of the coach's clipboard. Page 2 of the coach's clipboard is all about those discussion questions. So we've got a few different kind of chunks of questions that go in a certain path. And at the top, you can use those for those discussion circles that we talked about. And then at the bottom, we have those coachable moment questions. So for example, we just experienced an amazing moment when a teammate used their power to empower and lift up another member of our team. The question is, who can describe what we just witnessed? As a person who witnessed this brilliant power, example of power and empowerment, how does what you saw and heard make you feel? So again, this set is all designed to help you with that moment of amazing, just spectacular example of what you're trying to get the kids to do every single day. The next question set is for maybe when things are going off the rails a little bit. We just experienced a situation when energy from an emotion caused a teammate to use their power of influence to make someone feel small and unappreciated. Knowing that we're going to feel challenging emotions, how could this have been handled in a way to help us build team culture? And how can we to build team culture rather than working against it? So here's the important part of this. Our emotional energy is going to be there. We're going to feel challenging emotions, right? As coaches, to the officials and referees, we feel challenging emotions, right? The way that we respond to that is either constructive or destructive, right? All humans are going to go through this. So of course, our girls are going to go through this as well. So these questions are there to kind of help you get started. Now, are they the right questions for every situation? No, right? But they're just there to give you some examples of how we can really jump in and help our girls feel powerful and feel seen and as if they matter. All right, that's the coach's clipboard. Our vocab posters. Here are some of the words that we're using in week 1. Empower, to provide the motivation, resources, and confidence to a person or a group so that they grow stronger and more confident in controlling their life and claiming their rights. Right? This is what we want our athletes to do. We want them to grow stronger and more confident so that they can control their life, claim their rights, and be powerful in the moment. So there are also some of these questions after each definition, and you'll see that this is consistent. So grow through, to use a mistake as a chance to learn and grow, to turn a mistake or a challenge into an opportunity for personal development and improvement. What does it look like when someone grows through a challenge or a mistake? What does it sound like? I think that's probably the most interesting question. So again, all of these words are meant for you to post on a board. You can discuss them and read through them with the athletes, or you can just post them there for the girls to read, as long as they're in a high traffic spot where the girls kind of hang out and congregate. These are really designed so that they can read them on their own and then also just kind of reflect on these questions throughout. And I will tell you, if you make it a habit to use these words while you're in practice, in your drills, in your team meetings, in your pregame huddles, if you're using these words and they see them on the wall, they're going to know that it's important to you. And I can guarantee that your athletes, for the most part, think that whatever's important to coach has got to be important to me. That's why they're there, right? So again, there's 5 of these words. You can print them, post them, and 5 words for the week. So there's a whole new set of words for the next week. In our sessions with folks as we were getting ready to kind of launch these and we were piloting them with some coaches and getting feedback, we did have a couple coaches, which I thought was awesome and interesting, basically say, hey, I love these words. But what I did was I just took all of the 20 words that you gave for the entire 4-week program, and I pulled out the ones that I thought were priorities, and I just used one for the week, right? We just talked about one. I hung the other ones up, but I didn't talk about them all. I just used one as a priority word, and we really keyed in on it. So that's a little bit of feedback from one of the coaches that has already been able to use these, and I thought it was pretty cool, worth sharing. So our concept posters, again, designed for you to print and post. But what these are meant to do is to provide those messages for the athletes so that as they're reading it, they're really understanding what we're trying to do. So this first poster is all about what is power. Power is the ability to influence the belief, attitudes, and actions of others based on control of something that they want. Well, what does everybody want, especially young athletes? They want to feel like they matter, and they want to feel like they're safe to be themselves. And so those two things are the influencing currencies that we're working with. And the big question is, how will you use your power? So the next piece is, okay, now that we understand what that is, let's power map our life. Because here's the reality. This is what we need to teach our young girls. It is okay for you to be powerful. It's not a nasty word. It's not something that people, only evil people who are going to abuse power should have. We need more gracious, strong, independent, empowered young women to understand that they are powerful, that there are people in this world that they have influence over. Right? And how are we going to use that? Let's talk specifically about how we're going to use our power to influence the way others feel and the way others act. Because if one girl comes into the locker room and their negative energy just overflows the rest of the team, they're using that power in a destructive way. Now, if another teammate comes up and is able to sense that that athlete is having a challenge and can then help them through it, they're using their power in a constructive way. So that's really what we want them to be able to understand. Power is a resource, and we want them to use their in powerful ways. At worst, energy is hurtful and destructive, but at best, we can use energy to build up teammates, energize our community, and protect what's most important. So those are the concept cards, and you will notice as I kind of click through, I'm just going to click over to week 2. It's based on those themes that we talked about on our block plan. So this is all about future self and creating a vision for who you're going to be. Your future self is you, but older, wiser, and more accomplished. Your future self is you reaching your potential. So how do we create that vision? How do we understand that great people go through struggles, great people conquer challenges, and so we need to be able to anticipate those. And if we have this vision of our future self that's strong and confident and can conquer these challenges, it's going to happen. That's the future that you're going to create. All right. The last piece of this are the athlete journals. So I'm going to show you this really, really fast. It's just one page. And you can see we do not give a lot of space for the athletes to write in. The big reason is we don't want them to write for 30 minutes. We want them to write for 5 minutes. It's reflection, right? They're going to write for 5 minutes on this specific piece of paper, but then they're going to think about it and reflect on it over the course of the next day or two. And then as they kind of go into the next day and they start to write here, they're going to see what they wrote the day before. And you know what? Maybe things have changed. Maybe things have evolved a little bit. But overall, they have this opportunity to really reflect on the concepts that we're working through. And that's it. I know I said a lot of words in all of that. There's so much important content baked into every single week of the 8 weeks that we've provided for you. So I would encourage you to go in and start small, right? If you're already in the middle of a season or you've already started preseason, and you're not quite sure about, printing the whole thing off and then doing everything that's here, start with one word from the word walls. Start with the concept posters, and start to see how the girls react to it. Start to see how your other coaches react to it, how you react to it, right? And so it's important for y'all to know this is not a one size fits all where you have to do everything or you shouldn't do anything. Literally go in, find the stuff that you like, and start small with whatever resource you feel is going to be most applicable for your team. So that is Surge Forward. As we dive into Surge Within, you'll see that all of this is organized in the exact same way. And as we roll out more of these modules with different mental health concepts and leadership concepts, we're going to organize them in the same way. So you never get lost. You know exactly what you're looking for, and you can see exactly what you're trying to download and print. As we go into this, though, what I want to be able to do is just share with you, this is all about emotions education. So how do we help our girls regulate those emotions? And again, use the energy they get from their emotions for the betterment of their team. So I'm going to click just quickly on the block plan. So you can see, again, those instructions Monday through Saturday are the same, but obviously these concepts are different. So week 1, it's all about emotional energy. So we've made it halfway through the season. A lot of stuff has happened. Maybe some things we're proud of, maybe some things we're really not proud of, but it's time for us to get our emotional game where it needs to be heading it to the end of the season and hopefully into the playoffs, right? And so this is the perfect time to help them understand that, hey, we're all going to feel a range of emotions. We're going to feel comfortable emotions and happy emotions, and we're going to feel uncomfortable and challenging emotions. What are we going to do with those emotions? So the first one is all about emotional energy. The second week's emotional awareness. So how do we take a step back, regulate those emotions so that we can see clearly what's happening around us and respond in an appropriate way? Week 3 is all about emotional purpose. Anger is one of those emotions that I can tell you as a young father to a daughter, I kick myself all the time because I can remember telling my daughter, you shouldn't be angry. You shouldn't be angry. You shouldn't be angry. That's such a bad thing to say to young women, to anyone, but to young women especially. What is the purpose of anger? The purpose of anger is for us to set boundaries and protect what's important. So anytime I told my daughter, you shouldn't be angry, I'm telling her she shouldn't set boundaries and protect what's important. And I know obviously that wasn't my intention, and I've apologized to her profusely because of that. But the reality is, thank goodness she had coaches that helped her along the way, because she is a strong young woman who can set boundaries and can protect what is important to her, right? But our young athletes don't get this information, that there's a purpose behind this emotion, even though it's uncomfortable. So anyway, a little bit on that. The next one, emotional creativity. This is where we can be inspired, right? So that anger is allowing us to set these boundaries, and it's also giving us this incredible amount of energy so that we're working harder, so that we're staying connected to our teammates who are helping us feel like we matter and keeping us emotionally and physically safe, right? All of these things are incredibly powerful once we kind of tap into the energy and use it in creative ways. So obviously, I'm not going to go through all of these resources right now. I hope you can tell I'm excited to put these in your hands and really start to see where they go. But again, all of these resources are going to continue to be organized in the exact same way. There will be some professional development, just as a sneak peek or an Easter egg. There will be professional development to help you walk through all of these concepts as well in the future. So more to come on that. Woo! We just spent close to an hour walking through what's just the beginning of Surge content. And I will tell you that thanks to our partners, We Coach Women Leaders in Sports, the Nancy Lieberman charities, all of these incredible partners that we have, we will continue to build content. If you've been around and have seen any of the content that BSN provides through the open platform or Varsity Brands through Believe in You, you know that we're constantly generating more and more. So again, this is just the beginning, and I am excited to get your feedback. Anytime you want to send us a message, you can come to the Contact Us form and fill that out. Give us good feedback. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you'd like to see. And we will continue to build this out based on that feedback. So I'm going to stop there, Saxon. I don't know if there's any questions. I have not been monitoring the chat, but I just want to say I appreciate all of the folks who came out for this first webinar, and I hope what you see is going to be valuable to you and your team.